Hi everyone, I'm Akma Aslin and I will talk about language and politeness. In this presentation, I'll cover definitions of politeness, politeness theory, politeness, and also politeness strategies. Most of us know what it means to be polite. Our social life includes politeness. Over the years, there have been numerous reviews of the literature on politeness in language being published. In societies where there are interactions between strangers, it seems very rude to ignore the distance there might be between you and your addressee or your hearer and to talk as if you know him or her better than you do. Politeness is the action taken by competent speakers in a community in order to attend to a possible social or interpersonal disturbance. But from linguistics point of view, what is politeness? Can we refuse an invitation politely? How should we greet in different speech communities? Should we express appreciation for a meal in another culture? Well, how do scholars define politeness? Politeness is defined as an appearance of consideration, tact, deference, or courtesy in Merriam-Webster Dictionary. According to Janet Holmes in her book, An Introduction to Social Linguistics, politeness is taking account of social factors in the sense how well you know somebody, what is their social role, what relative status is in relation to yours, as well as what is the type of social interaction context that you are involved in. In 1980s, Penelope Brown and Stephen Levinson proposed the politeness theory, which have defined politeness as the way to convey the utterance as polite as possible, which in this case is needed to minimize conflict with others. And lastly, Daniel Van Almen defines politeness as ways in which language is employed in conversation to show consideration for the feelings of one's interlocutor or the speaker to create interpersonal relationships to comply with the rules for what the society or culture considers as an appropriate behavior. Let's move on to the politeness theory. These are Penelope Brown and Stephen Levinson who proposed the politeness theory. According to them, when politeness is used, it is seen as deliberate and free decision of the individual based on consideration of context and the face wants of involved participants. Politeness assumes that we all have face and we all have face wants and needs. Within the politeness theory, face is actually not the actual face, but your public self-image that you have established for yourself and you would like to be recognized by others. What is your face that is your social image? At times, we will question ourselves as how do we want others to perceive us? According to Brown and Levinson politeness theory, positive face is an individual's need for his or her wishes and desires to be appreciated in a social context, while negative face is an individual's need for freedom of action, freedom from imposition, and the right to make one's own decision. Imagine these two situations. Frankly, I like to be part of a group. I want to be liked and like to have the sense of belonging to a group which will motivate my desire of interaction. Thus, this is called positive face. But sometimes I want to be left alone, especially alone from my children, and have my me time all by myself. Well, I value this independence and freedom, which I do not want to be told what to do, and not interested for any small talk or pep talk. This would be called a negative face from linguistics point of view, but for most Malaysians, we call it antisocial, where parents would force their children to get out from their room and shake hands with any guests who come to the house. I believe there was no COVID-19 at that time, and we did not have any excuse as children to practice negative face and just did what we were told. But actually, according to Brown and Levinson theory, negative face does not mean it is worse than positive face and has traditional meaning, but rather free from any judgment. Let us now move on to politeness strategies. There are several terms that we need to know in Brown and Levinson politeness theory that is called politeness strategies. Brown and Levinson suggested that it was useful to distinguish two types of politeness. They are called as politeness strategies that avoid offense by showing deference, which means respect and esteem due to superiority or respect to an elder. The first strategy is positive politeness strategy that avoids offense by highlighting friendliness, while the second one is negative politeness strategy that addresses the hearer's need for freedom of action and freedom from imposition in making his or her own decision. They also suggest that whether we consider a strategy as polite or impolite, which depends on how much attention or what kind of attention a speaker pays to their own and their addressee's face wants. According to Brown and Levinson again, the ranking of the imposition influences the kind of politeness strategies which are deemed as appropriate. Asking your best friend if you can borrow their newspaper to his or her newspaper to check the sports result will be different from asking him or her to borrow their brand new mountain bike, which is, of course, I believe, expensive. This is an example from Janet and Holmes' Introduction to Social Linguistics. Example number 8. Rick makes a request to his mother in the family living room. Pauses are indicated in tense of a second. For example, 0.5 is half a second. Rick, do you think I could possibly just borrow your car? The mother would frown. And the Rick would continue, just for a little while. Well, mother will answer, well, with a frown. And Rick will respond, it's just that I need to get this book to Helen tonight. Well, the two participants here, they actually know each other. And the son is a young adult, okay, which causes Rick request to be relatively direct. Okay, Rick is actually asking a big favor from his mother, okay, in order to borrow her expensive sports car, and there is a possibility that his mother will not lend the car. Okay, so the result is negative politeness strategies are used with the hesitation markers such as modal verbs such as could, and particle possibly, or minimizers such as just and also a little. Okay, and the result will be positive politeness strategies are used in group identity marker by mom, and also Rick providing a reason for the request. Here is another example. Let's say I fell asleep during our class and missed what was being taught by the lecturer. Okay, so I approached Amanda, hoping Amanda would lend her notes to me. But this would put Amanda in distress as she needs to decide to share her notes or not. Will Amanda want to be part of the group and be perceived by her positive face? Or Amanda might feel imposed on by my request because it challenges her negative face? Well, I decided to use positive politeness strategy to appeal to Amanda's positive face and want to make her feel appreciated and show her that she is a valued colleague or friend. I would start with complimenting her good traits before moving on to my intention, that is to borrow her notes, meaning here which uses language that creates closeness. Hi, Amanda. You know that you are a very diligent and good student and would never miss any of the lectures. Can you please lend me your notes as it would be such a great help? Or I can choose a negative politeness strategy because I do not want Amanda to feel imposed on, or I'm letting Amanda to choose to decline my request by using hedges and fillers in an indirect language. Hi, Amanda. Do not be angry with my request because I feel bad for asking this as you put your best effort in your notes. I know I shouldn't fall asleep during the lecture. Would it be okay for you to lend me your notes? I promise, just this once. Well, this is a strategy that gives freedom for Amanda to decline my request. Both strategies will have different response from Amanda as the hearer and will involve saving face of the speaker, which is me, my face, according to the relationship of the speaker and hearer. Now, I hope you know your preference of politeness. Most of us will mix the positive and negative politeness strategies. At a banking call center where I used to work, these strategies are called cushion statements. Whenever the customer called in, swearing at us, we would have sets of a dialogue, okay, to respond, which is called cushion statement, and I think it is still a must for every customer service consultant or executive. Um, from the examples that I have given, can you think of any example from your own experience? Any politeness strategies that we use will actually show our social face that we expect to be recognized by others. That's all from me. Amanda will actually proceed with her presentation. Thank you very much, Amanda.